Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello and welcome everybody to our course Simple Ways to Understand Translation. We have discussed so far about the past continuous tense and how we could use this type of tense in various ways, whether in WH questions and yes-no questions and so other different sentences. And today I will give you the last lesson in our first step in this course, which is the future tense, and how we should use it in various ways. We began explaining the future tense. Okay, how we should use the future tense in affirmative sentences. There is one form grammar here. Subject plus the verb to be, and then after that we have to put going to, after that the base verb. We don't change anything in the base verb, whether it's ing or ed. It will be affirmative verb, or the verb will be base. Like, for example, the first example is talking to us. The boy is going to meet his father in the home. I'm going to repair my car. The third example, he's going to write his homework in the school. The fourth example is she's going to have a dinner with her family. The fifth example, you are going to buy your new mobile from the shop. The sixth one, they're going to ski. The seventh and last example in this slide, we are going to visit our neighbors. Okay, can we add some other expressions like next week or next year in these sentences? Yes we do, or yes we can. But there is one note here, or I'm warning you in these sentences, if you add the other expressions in the beginning of the sentences, you have to put after the other expressions a comma, because these expressions came in the beginning of the sentences, like in the slide below. Okay, firstly, I want to give you what are the expressions we have to use in the future tense. They are like those below: next week, next year, next month, next summer, next Sunday, tomorrow morning, tomorrow night, tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, in 10 minutes, in 2 years, soon, tonight. So these expressions explain what these sentences tell us to do in the future, because they are telling us in the future. So how the sentences will look like after we add these expressions in the last or in the beginning of the sentences. It will look like this slide below. Look what we should do. We add a comma after the time expressions, because they came in the beginning of the sentences. Like, for example, next Sunday the boy is going to meet his father in the home. But if these expressions came at the end of the sentences, we don't use any comma, because they came in the last of the sentence or of the sentences as a plural. Okay, the second one, tonight I'm going to repair my car. Tomorrow morning he's going to write his homework in the school. The fourth one, tomorrow evening she's going to have a dinner with her family. The fifth one, in 5 weeks you are going to buy your new mobile from the shop. The sixth one, after the winter they are going to ski. The seventh one, next year we are going to visit our neighbors. The eighth and the last example in this slide, in 2 minutes Karan is going to the gym. So I told you previously, if you add the other expressions like next Sunday, tonight, tomorrow, next year, after the winter, however, we have to put a comma after these expressions because they came in the beginning of the sentence. But if these expressions came at the end of the sentences, we don't use any comma at all. Okay, we'll move now to the next slide. It's talking about how we should use the future tense in WH questions. So, in the form grammar below, WH word, we have to put the WH word first. Then after that we will add the verb to be. In the plural tense, or in the plural, we should use are. In the singular subject, we should use is. Okay, then after that we put the subject. After that, going to tell us that this question is talking about the future. And then after that, the base verb, as shown you in the examples below. What are you going to do tonight? Look, it's like he's planning what he will do today or what he will do tonight. The second one, where are you going to school? The third one, where are they going to go next year? The fourth one, who are they going to meet in the morning? The fifth one, when are we going to come back to our country after 3 months? The sixth one, where are we going to sleep next night? The seventh one, when I am going to give my briefcase to my sister. So this tells us how we should use the WH questions in the type of the future tense. Okay, now how we should use the future tense, how we should use the yes/no questions in the future tense. It's same as the past continuous, the past tense, the present continuous, the present tense. We should put the verb to be at the beginning of the question to let us understand that this tells us about yes/no questions. So in the next slide I will tell you about that. See, yes/no questions, how we should use the yes/no questions at future tense. The verb to be, it's same as any test we have talked before, and then after that we will add the subject and then going to tells us that these questions come in the future tense or in the future time. After that, the base verb, and then other expressions. If possible, if you want to add other expressions at the last of the yes/no questions, okay, there's no problem. After that, we will talk some examples at this slide. For example, are you going to eat in the restaurant in the weekend? The second one, am I going to sleep in my new house last year? The third one, are they going to meet each other next summer? The fourth one, is he going to the match last year? The fifth one, is she going to put the money in the bank? So this is how we could use these type of questions in the future tense. So we have to put the verb to be at the beginning of the question, and then we complete the question with subject and then the going to, and then base verb, and then if you want to add some other expressions, okay, no problem, go on. Okay, now the next slide in this lesson, it's about how we should use when and why clauses in the sentences. So if when statement or why statement or if statement came at the beginning of the sentence, we should use a comma after the completing of the clause. Like for example, in the form below, the noun phrase, then after that we have to put the past or the verb to be, like was or were, then the verb ing. After that we have to put the noun phrase, for example, at the office, his book, in the garden, etc. Then plus that, when and while. This when and while, if they came at the beginning of the sentences, we have to put comma. We will talk about that later, okay? Noun, and then we have to put the past of the verb. Wrote, bought, etc. Okay, the next one. If these sentences has the opposite, then we put a comma. Like, for example, now you will understand what is the meaning of opposite, what I wrote here in this slide. Okay, the first example, Ali was working at the office when Ahmed wrote his book. Look, there is no comma because the when statement is in the middle of the sentence, so that's why we will not put a comma here in this sentence. But in the second sentence, what will happen? When Ahmed wrote his book, Ali was working at the office. See what we do? We put a comma because the when statement is came in the beginning of the sentence, so that's why we put a comma in this example. The cat was sleeping in the garden when the boy bought some cakes. The fourth one, when the boy bought some cakes, the cat was sleeping in the garden. Look, when the boy bought. Look, the when statement comes at the first of the clause, so that's why we put a comma at the last of the when clause. The cat was sleeping in the garden. The fifth one, the clock was ringing at 9 o'clock a.m. while my father slept in his room. While my father slept in his room, comma, the clock was ringing at 9 o'clock a.m. The seventh one, they were watching TV while I came home. The last example in this slide or in this lesson, while I came home, comma, they were watching TV. Okay. Now, if the when statement or why statement or if statement came in the beginning of the sentence, we should put a comma after the complete clause of each of these statements. So we have completely and successfully finished the last lesson of the first step of our course, Simple Ways to Understand Translation. And in the next lesson, inshallah, we will begin explaining about how to write a paragraph. But first, I will explain to you how to use the controlling ideas or the controlling idea in a sentence. I meet you inshallah in the next lecture. Have a good time and goodbye.